Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya.
Hey, Bante.
How is
Namo
Bante
Buddhaya.
doing?
How are you, Bante?
How is Bante doing?
Very good,
Namo
very
Buddhaya,
good. Thank you.
Bhante.
How is everybody doing?
Good, thank you.
I'm okay, thank you, Bante.
Good. Everybody found opportunities to read suttas or listen to Dhamma talks during last week.
Yes, Bante.
Any questions? Anything you wanted to ask while reading suttas or anything that was not clear to you? So first I pay homage to my teacher, Luk Swamin Wahanse. Sadhu, sadhu. So do you remember where we finished last time?
Yes, Bante.
Bante, I have a question about last week.
Uh-huh.
How does one know when they have cut off one of the dependent origination? Like, how does one know when they've cut off clinging or when they've cut off the arrangement of karma? How do they know?
They gain a special knowledge. Buddha taught they gain a special knowledge as soon as all the fetters are cut off and the craving is eliminated. That special knowledge is described like this by the Buddha. Hina jati. The first knowledge comes to that person is Kina jati. Birth is ended. Usitang brahmacharya. The holy life has been fully practiced. Patang karaniyam. Whatever should be done in order to end suffering has been done. Naparang itathayati pajanati. And he understands that there is nothing to do more to end suffering. Ayamantima Hina jati usitam brahmacharyam khatang karaniyam naparang itathayati pajanati. So that's the knowledge the liberated person gains as soon as all the fetters are cut off and craving is eliminated. So that person has an understanding that he's not going to be reborn again and has attained Nibbana. Like
Thank you, Bante.
yeah, like you know that some of the liberated ones gain special knowledges such as the knowledge to see past lives of beings, Kubbe Nivasa Anussati Jnana, and some of the liberated monks and nuns gain the knowledge to recollect their past lives, to see death and rebirth of beings, how beings are reborn and die according to their karma. That's another special knowledge. That's called Chutupapata Jnana. And like that, this is also a specific knowledge to those enlightened people. Again, they understand very clearly that this is their last birth and they are not going to be reborn as a result of eliminating craving fully and realizing the Four Noble Truths fully. Okay.
Okay, so okay, I didn't realize that last. So when someone breaks the chain of dependent origination, they are enlightened.
They are enlightened.
Okay, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Just wondering, Bhante, you can say a little bit more about name, I guess. That's Nama. I was following along, but it seems to get a little confusing when you name
Nama.
Nama. Yeah,
Yeah,
Rupa.
we can talk about that. So what are the 5 factors? How many factors has the Nama?
Well, there's 5: feeling, perception, intention, contact, and attention.
Yes.
I was just like, there seems like we're talking about 12 steps, right? 12 links. And then these 5 are sort of put into the middle somehow of these 12 links, or just.
Yeah, that's so. We need to understand Nama Rupa, at the same time trying to understand the 6 sense bases. So let me find that sutta again.
I guess everybody else already knows these things. I'm going over the same ground, maybe.
That's okay. So do you remember the other sutta what is the base sutta that we were discussing?
Well, this,
Chittayatana Sutta, right?
I thought this was in the Atsavati Sutta. No, there was
This
another.
one is the Vibhanga Sutta.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just found it. Okay, so now you can see here. So we were talking about this sutta. The Buddha taught about the origin of suffering, if you can remember here. What is the noble truth of the origin of suffering?
Right.
Atamancha bhikkhave dukkha samudayang arya satcham. And that is the dependent origination. Buddha explained as the origin of suffering. The cause of suffering is the existence of mechanism of a cause and effect, right?
Right.
So there we were trying to learn from our main problem, and that is jara, marana, soka, parideva, dukkha, domana, supayasa, sambhavanti. Aging, right? Sickness, death, crying, pain, physical pain, mental pain, and all this suffering is the result, according to the teachings of the Buddha. That's the result of something, and we learned about the result. Result is the cause is
The birth.
yeah, birth. Jati paccaya jara marana. Birth is the cause of suffering and nothing else. Birth is the cause of suffering, and as long as the birth or rebirth continues, all these problems will be there, and that being has to experience all of these things repeatedly, right? Not in one life, not in 10 lives, not in 100 lives. Again and again we will face the same problems. They are coming again and again, and in the midst of a stream of tears, one has to continue this journey, because there is a little happiness, but there is greater suffering and greater pain. That is the inherent quality of this journey. So that's why the only solution is to end rebirth, as Buddha realized. There is no permanent place or permanent rebirth, to go somewhere, to go to a special world, or to be united with somebody, a creator, whatever. There is no such thing as Buddha discovered. All beings, including those so-called creators or Brahmas or higher gods or whatever you call, all those beings are included in the same mechanism, the cause and effect mechanism. So the lasting solution, the permanent solution is to this problem is to end rebirth, right?
Right.
Yeah, and then Buddha taught about again when we go to the next link of the dependent origination. So now in this link, birth became the cause and the suffering became the result. But when we go to the next one, the birth becomes a result or effect, and something else becomes the cause of birth. And that is, what is that cause of birth?
Arranging
Karma.
of karma.
Yeah, karma, arranging of karma, conditions birth. There is no person who gives birth. There is no person, external person who sends beings to this world and to that world, to this here and there. There is no such person. It's a natural law that does that. That's called arranging of karma. And how does that karma, how is it happening? And we learned about that when we do things with our body, when we say things with our words, when we think thoughts, the karma is arranged. And that's, we are fully responsible for these actions. Whether we like it or not, the results will come behind us. That results will follow, and good karma or good actions will lead to a happy rebirth. And you see here the connection between arranging of karma and jati. That means good actions lead us to a happy rebirth, and bad actions lead us to a painful, miserable rebirth. And when there is a mixture of good and bad actions, that will lead to a rebirth in a realm where the being will experience a mixture of happiness and pain. An example is the human world. The beings have been reborn here with that karma, a mixture of good and bad actions. And then when we go to the next link of the dependent origination, Buddha realized arranging of karma this time becomes a result. And there is something else as the cause of arranging of karma. And what is that cause?
The clinging.
Clinging, upadana. And Buddha taught us about how many clingings?
There are four.
4 types of clinging. And that's completely a mental factor. So behind this arranging of karma, and if we think, okay, how can I stop arranging of karma? And then we have to find out the cause behind arranging of karma, and we have to work on that. So there are 4 types of arranging of karma. The 4 types of clinging that leads to the arranging of karma, upadana. We talked about that in details. So when we go to the next link, Buddha realized with extraordinary knowledge, upadana becomes a result, craving becomes a cause for upadana. Craving is the cause. And how many types of craving are there?
6.
6 types of craving. When we very clearly we understand that they exist in us. Craving, what are those 6? Craving for sights, craving for sounds, craving for smells, craving for tastes, craving for tangibles, and craving for thoughts. So we clearly can understand that that they exist and they are present in us, and how they actually handle most of our actions, most of our life, most of our decisions, right? The craving governs almost the entire living. And then Buddha realized craving is a very complex thing, and sometimes it's very hard to find out that the craving is behind this action or that action. Buddha realized because craving is a result of something else.
Feeling,
What is the cause behind craving?
feeling.
Feeling. Vedana paccaya tanha. And then we understood with the help of the Supreme Buddha's knowledge that when we see something, when we hear something, when we smell something, taste, touch, think something, it's not just a bare knowing, it's something is happening. We are moved that direction of the sight or sound or smell, taste or touch. We are carried away by that incident. It's because there is feeling behind it. A feeling arises in the seeing process, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking process. There is a feeling arises. So feeling is the cause of craving. And then Buddha realized, then you have to examine the cause behind feeling.
Contact.
Contact is the cause behind feeling. And if we investigate thoroughly, we will really clearly see the truth of the word of the Buddha and the truth of his understanding. That every time when there is a contact, when there is a new contact, a new feeling arises. Even though we only like happy, pleasant feelings, can we gain that? Can we control it? No, it depends on the contact and what is in the contact. And that will decide what kind of feeling we are going to experience. It's completely cause and effect mechanism. There is no I, no mine, no I am myself, no myself there. It's kind of zero control. It's just causes and conditions arise, results and effect follow those causes and conditions, because depending on the nature of the contact, the feeling will vary. So how many contacts are there, as Buddha realized?
6.
6 types of contact, and they are the eye contact, ear contact, nose contact, tongue contact, body contact, and mind contact. And we can, if we understand this and if we try to apply these teachings to our life, and if we are mindful about what is happening when we see something, when we hear something, and so on, we will very clearly understand this truth within ourselves. It's not something outside, it's not something apart from our experience, it's just about our living. 3 things always come together in these 6 senses, and that's called phassa, contact. Internal sense faculty, external object, and the consciousness come together, right?
Right.
That's how always these feelings change from pleasant to unpleasant, unpleasant to pleasant, or pleasant to neutral. So that's amazing how Buddha realized these things without the help of a teacher. And then contact is completely a problem in life, because there is no way that we can avoid contact. It's like Buddha gave a simile to describe this contact, or to understand the true nature of this contact. Contact is like a cow without a skin, alive. The cow is alive without a skin. So wherever the cow goes, near a tree, then insects attack the cow, or the cow jumps into a lake or whatever, water, and there are creatures there to attack the cow. Wherever the cow goes, there is no relief, no escape. Somebody should understand contact in the same way. If they understand contact is like a burden, like a problem, they will be able to control craving. That's a powerful simile given by the Buddha. So they don't see contact as an enjoyable, pleasurable, or friendly thing. Instead, they will understand contact is completely a problem. And then Buddha realized contact is a result of something else, and it is the result of
Sense field 6.
six sense bases or six faculties. That's eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. That's completely about our life. And living means trying to gratify these six senses, trying to bring happy objects in front of them. But in one of the suttas, Buddha taught these six senses are like a great ocean. It can never be fully satisfied. Like, to how many places did you go with your eyes to show beautiful things? Did your eyes say to you, okay, now no need to go anywhere, just stay home? No, I don't need to see any more beautiful things. Did eyes tell you like that? No. We feel like they still want to see beautiful things, more beautiful things. So we want to go to that place, this place, and we still want to see beautiful things. And sounds, the ear, nose, tongue, body, and like that, right? They can be never fully satisfied. It's like a great ocean that's never filled. And then we go to the question that Rob asked about the cause behind these six sense bases. So what is the how can we stop the arising of six sense bases? Is some people think it's committing suicide is the core, is the reason, is the solution. So they will escape from six sense bases. Is that right? No, because as soon as they commit suicide, they will escape from these six sense bases of this human body, human life, and as soon as the consciousness is released from this body, the consciousness that is connected to each six sense base, they will have a new life. That means another set of six sense bases. Okay, so you had six sense bases here as a human being, but as a result of the powerful bad karma of committing suicide, the next instant you will have six sense bases, a set of six senses again, but this time as an animal with more suffering, more pain, more miserable experiences. So it's a completely a misunderstanding to think that the solution to cut off the connection with the world is committing suicide. That's a completely misunderstanding. So in order to stop the arising of six sense bases, one has to stop the cause. What is the cause behind the six senses? Nama Rupa, right?
Nama Rupa, yeah.
Nama Rupa. And there, we went to another sutta, that's a Vibhanga Sutta. So we are in the Vibhanga Sutta now. We went from Chittayatana Sutta to Vibhanga Sutta to understand the Nama Rupa, because Buddha explains about Nama Rupa here very clearly. You can see here Nama Rupa, Katamacha Bhikkhave Nama Rupa. Nama Rupa means Nama. Buddha explains Nama first. So because these mentality factors are not in a dead body, those six senses are in the dead body. We don't call them as six senses as a part of the dependent origination. It's just like a thrown away log. The body is like a thrown away log. There is no any functioning of cause and effects in terms of the dependent origination. So a live I that is connected to the dependent origination means always the combination of Nama and Rupa. That's how we understand what is behind eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. And what are they behind the arising of eye, ear, or nose, or the six senses? They are Vedana, feeling, perception, thought, contact, and attention, manasikara. Vedana, sanya, chetana, hasso, manasikaro. And Buddha realized that the Nama Rupa means connection, a combination of mentality and materiality. And materiality means always elements of the physical elements, earth element, water element, fire element, and air element. So iti idancha namang idancha rupang idang uchati bhikkhave nama rupang. So Buddha explains that such is name, such is form, or such is mentality, such is materiality. These are called mentality and materiality. So we found an easy way to understand this, how an eye arises, how ear arises. We started with manasikara. So when we pay attention to an object, that's the manasikara. As soon as the attention is there to that specific object, to a sight, to a sound, to a smell, or whatever object, three things come together. If that is about a sound, if the object is sound, then the ear, sound, and the consciousness come together, and that's called phassa. And there's, as soon as the contact happens, these first three things happen at the same time: feeling, perception, and thought. As soon as the contact happens, we will experience a pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral feeling. The perception of that, the color, the shape, the size of the object, or whatever, favorite or whatever, agreeable or disagreeable, and the chetana, the thoughts, stream of thoughts, will be connected with that seeing process or hearing process. So these things don't happen or don't occur in an eye of a dead body, in an ear of a dead body. That's how we understand, oh, that means a living eye, living ear, living nose, living tongue, living body, and living mind means definitely the combination of mentality and materiality. In the dead body, there is only a material element, just material element, physical things. There is no connection to any mentality aspects.
So we're talking about the cause of eye. We're not talking about the cause of eye contact. We're
No,
talking about
cause
the
of
cause
eye.
of eye.
Correct.
But when we say, but I mean, even like a little baby has an eye already.
Mhm. Mhm. And for that I also, for the arising of that I also, the cause is Nama Rupa.
but who experiences this Nama Rupa?
That's an irrelevant question.
Okay.
Because when somebody asks the same question when Buddha was alive, who experiences feeling? I can show you that exact sutta. The exact question is like that. Who experiences craving? And Buddha said, irrelevant question. You are asking a wrong question. You have to rearrange the question if you like an answer. And then Buddha asked him to rearrange the question like this. Ask like this. What is the cause of craving? What is the cause of feeling? Right?
Right.
If you ask like that, because Buddha wanted to tell, Buddha realized that if we question who is feeling, who is having craving, we are going to be in a big trouble. Because in the beginning of realizing the truth of life, we have misunderstood something. So we are not going to go any further. What is that misunderstanding? That we think there is a subject for this action. There is a person who is doing this, and that's completely against the first stage of enlightenment. Because when one gains the first stage of enlightenment, the Sakkaya Ditthi should be abandoned. That's the notion, or wrong notion or misunderstanding, that there is a self here, that a controlling body here, somebody controlling things. And that way we are not going to gain any understanding. So the rearranging of the question is should be like this. What is the cause of craving? What is the cause of feeling? Like that. Did you get that?
Yeah. So what is the cause of I? That's, I guess, where I'm
Now is the right question.
That's where
What
I'm
is the
losing
cause
it.
of I?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get the answer,
Nama Rupa.
Nama Rupa.
Right. Mm.
Yeah. Then the path is open
Yeah, I think
for examination. Yeah.
that seems to be the hardest connection there.
Yeah.
The Nama Rupa as a cause.
Yeah. But slowly and gradually, this is deep Dhamma. So
Okay.
for some people, we forget that this is deep Dhamma, and we try to get the meaning right away or understanding right away. But for some people, it may take years and years. For some people, it may take lives and lives. But
Right.
we just gain the first understanding about it, clarification, and then we can follow the Noble Eightfold Path in order to understand the true meaning behind these things, and the
Right.
real application, and how they are interconnected. All these things we are going to learn and experience gradually.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds
Very
good. Thank you,
Very
Bhante.
good. So today we are trying to learn about now we need to understand the cause behind Nama Rupa, right? So last time we discussed about Nama Rupa and 6 sense bases. Okay, so today we have to learn about the cause behind Nama Rupa. Now in this link, Nama Rupa becomes, so if we go back to the Base Sutra here, okay, here. So in the previous link, Nama Rupa became the cause, and the 6 sense bases became the result. And now Nama Rupa, in this new link, as Buddha realized, Nama Rupa becomes the result or effect, and there is something else behind it. So dependent on something, mentality and materiality arises. So again, if we go to like if you think about a dead body, we know that there is no functioning of 6 sense bases because there is no Nama Rupa there, right? There is no any mental factors functioning there. in a dead body. It's just like a log thrown away. And what is the reason? Why don't Nama Rupa function there in a dead body? Because the consciousness is released from that body. See? Because the consciousness is the essential thing in order for the Nama Rupa to arise. So if Nama Rupa don't arise in a dead body, why do Nama Rupa arise in our life? What is the cause behind Nama Rupa? Vijnana. Buddha realized that very deep thing, very subtle thing, the main cause behind, the only cause, the powerful cause behind the arising of mentality and materiality, which makes our eye a live eye, our ear a live ear, our nose a live nose, our tongue a live tongue, our body a live tongue, our mind a live mind. What is that powerful cause?
Vijnana.
Vijnana.
Consciousness.
Yes, consciousness is that powerful thing. Do you remember before we learned that the consciousness is like what?
Seed.
The
It's like
seed.
a seed.
Yeah, in one sutta Buddha explained it as the seed, and in another sutta Buddha explained that there's a simile for consciousness.
Magician, Bante.
Magician. Consciousness is like a magician. So now in the very beginning of seeing process, in the very beginning of hearing process, smelling, tasting, touching and thinking process, there is a magician. That means we are not going to see the things as they really are, because the magician is in the beginning of the process. That means when we open our eyes, we see impermanent things, but we never know that they are impermanent things. We think they are permanent things. They will last. They will be with my life forever. And we see ugly things, but the consciousness is a magician. It will never show them as ugly things. The consciousness will show us they are as beautiful things. When we open our eyes, we will see painful things. The things are because all the conditioned things are subject to change. Yada nicchantan dukkha. Buddha explains whatever is impermanent and temporary is suffering. But we are not going to see that, because there is the magician in our experience process. So we think painful things as happy things. So we want to chase after them. We want to own them. We want to say that they are mine, they are I am. So what are we saying? That they are mine, they are myself, and we claim that the things belong to suffering. We claim mine, I am. Buddha very clearly explained that if we say something that this is mine, the meaning of that is that we are telling that suffering is mine. We don't know that, because whatever we are going to have an ownership is a conditioned thing, and it is bound with pain, suffering. So yeah, vijnana, consciousness is like a magician. Okay, why in a dead body is okay? What are the so we are talking about our own life now, not about a dead body. So what are the What is the meaning of consciousness? Okay, now Buddha explains about the meaning of consciousness. Athamancha bhikkhave vijnana. So we are learning about consciousness. We don't need to give our own interpretations about consciousness. We don't need to say this and that. We don't need to say about floating consciousness or which we don't need to give different names for consciousness. We just need to learn what Buddha realized as consciousness. So Buddha explains Chaime bhikkhave vijnanakaya. So that means there are 6 classes of consciousness. And what are they? Chakku vijnana, meaning
eye consciousness,
eye consciousness. Sota vijnana,
ear consciousness,
ghana vijnana,
nose consciousness,
jivha vijnana,
Tongue
tongue consciousness, kaya vijnana, body
body
consciousness, mano vijnana,
mind consciousness.
mind consciousness. So those are the 6 classes of consciousness. Now how, where are they? Where are they functioning? In each
In the
sense
eye.
base, in each sense faculty. Can you add another one saying, okay, this is the 7th consciousness?
No, Bhante.
No, it's throughout the 18,000 discourses. If you read all the 18,000 discourses, or if you meet somebody and ask who has read 18,000 discourses, you see throughout the entire collection of discourses, you will see only 6 types of consciousness. Everywhere Buddha explains about the same type of consciousness. It's very clear. Now we have to understand, okay, how, like, now dependent on the consciousness, mentality and materiality arise. Dependent on mentality and materiality, what arises?
6 sense bases.
6 sense bases arise, right? So that's how it leads to suffering all the way. And now we have to understand, with the help of the Buddha's enlightenment, why can't we stop this functioning of consciousness? What is the way to do that? And then we had to learn, Buddha asked us to learn that there is a cause behind consciousness. What is the cause behind consciousness?
choice, volition,
Are you sure?
choices,
Pali word is Sankhara. Okay.
Ignorance?
No. Sankhara. So let's use a different translation for Sankhara here. Let's say formations. Formations.
Oh.
Okay. What is the cause behind consciousness?
Formations.
Formations. In Pali, Sankhara. Sankhara. What does that mean? It's, you will realize the Buddha's amazing knowledge. In order for the consciousness to function or arise, there should be a being. Now we go here to understand the Sankhara here, Sankhara. There should be a being who is breathing, The heart is working, breathing is happening, in and out breathing. So that is called the first type of Sankhara. We call it bodily formation, Kaya Sankhara. There are 3 kinds of formations. See here, Kathamecha Bhikkhave Sankhara. For monks, what is the meaning of formations? Answer. Ayome bhikkhave sankhara. There are 3 types of formations that support the consciousness. Do you understand that? There are 3 kinds of formations that support the arising of consciousness. Without the support of these 3 factors, a consciousness never arises. So that means in a dead body, consciousness doesn't arise. Do you agree? Because the consciousness is released from a dead body, right? The consciousness doesn't arise. Why? One reason for that is that there is no in and out breathing in a dead body, which is an essential part for the arising of consciousness, and that is absent in a dead body. So the consciousness is not arising. And that is the first type of sankhara, that is called kaya sankhara. What is the meaning of kaya sankhara?
In breathing and out breathing.
In breathing and out breathing. Okay, for like just a small thing here. If you understand it as choices by, as the translation says here, as choices by way of body, will you have any idea about the true meaning behind kaya sankhara? Because kaya sankhara means directly in and out breathing.
Breathing.
In and out breathing. Does this choices by way of body on the left hand side, does it say anything about in and out breathing?
No.
It doesn't say anything about in and out breathing. That's why you have to be very careful. You have to have a thorough knowledge about the teachings of the Buddha. Otherwise, you will not be able to understand the core of Buddhist teachings, the core of the Buddha's teachings, that is the dependent origination. So the direct meaning of kaya sankhara is in and out breathing. And the second type of sankhara that supports the arising of consciousness, again, it is absent in a dead body. As a result, consciousness is not arising. But in our life, the second type of sankhara is functioning. As a result, consciousness is arising. And what is the second type of sankhara? Pali.
Vachi sankhara.
Vachi sankharo. Vachi sankharo. If you read here, you will translate it as choices by way of speech. But let me explain the meaning that Buddha wanted us to learn and Buddha realized as Vachi sankhara. And Buddha explained the meaning of Vachi sankhara is the arranging of the words inside the mind before talking. The focusing for the words and the arranging the words before speaking. That's called Vachi sankhara, and that directly supports the arising of consciousness. In Pali, Vachi sankhara, meaning of Vachi sankhara in Pali, vitakka vicharo, vitakko vicharo. And one of the translations for that is applied thought is vitakka. Applied thought means we focus on a word or a sentence or a phrase. We focus on that. And the second one is vicharo. Vicharo means we think about it. We think about that phrase or sentence or before we speak about it. It's arranging process of words inside the mind, and that directly supports for the arising of consciousness as Buddha realized. Vitakko vicharo, that means applied thought and sustained thought. Applied thought is vitakka, sustained thought is vichara. Sustained thought is vichara. Sustained thought is vichara. Sustained thought is vitakka, sustained thought is vichara. Applied 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 basically the process of arranging words inside the mind. And sometimes do you see that some words are arranged in the mind and we are about to speak, but we stop speaking about it? Have you experienced that? The sentence is already arranged inside the mind. We are about to speak it, but we say, okay, no, I'm not going to tell it this time. So now we can see very clearly how that sentence is arranged inside our mind. That's called vitakko vicharo, vachi sankhara. And we didn't know that it directly supports the arising of consciousness, but Buddha discovered it. And the third type of sankhara, again, that supports the arising of consciousness, or the cause behind consciousness, is that pitta sankharo. Chitta sankharo. So we can say bodily formations, verbal formation, and mental formations. Mental formations here, or chitta sankharo, means, as Buddha explained, sanya vedana, perception and feeling. That mental, that state of mind should be active, perception, in order for the consciousness to arise. Perception, feeling, that aspect is not active in a dead body. As a result, a consciousness will not arise. But in a living person, all these three types of sankhara are functioning. As a result, the consciousness will arise. And what are those three types of sankhara? In and out breathing,
Arranging of the words
arranging of the words,
in the mind, and perception, feeling, state of mind.
perception and feeling. Because of those sankharas, the consciousness arises. That's why Buddha explained here, sankhara paccaya vijnana. Sankhara paccaya vijnana. So how to stop arranging of consciousness? Do we have to stop breathing? Do we have to stop talking? Do we have to go like into a coma, like where we don't have any feeling or perception? Is that the way? No. Avidya paccaya sankhara. This is the last link of the dependent origination. The reason behind the arranging of formations, what is that reason?
Ignorance.
Avidya, ignorance, avidya. So the only way to stop arranging of sankhara is to remove avidya from in and out breathing, is to remove avidya from arranging of words, is to remove avidya from perception and feeling. If avidya is removed from in and out breathing, from words arranging, and perception and feeling, as a result, we don't say that formations are arranged any longer. We say formations come to cease. That's why we say, when we go to the cessation of suffering. Okay, this is really deep. Pay very close attention here. If we go to the second part, the last part of the sutta, what is the noble truth of the cessation of suffering? Buddha explains what is the noble truth of the cessation, end of suffering. Atthamancha bhikkhave dukkha nirodham arya satcham. What is the end of suffering? The noble truth. Avijjayatveva asesa viraga nirodha sankhara nirodho. With the cessation of avidya. With the complete removal of avidya comes the cessation of formations. That means avidya is removed from in and out breathing. The meaning that the avidya is removed doesn't mean that you stop in and out breathing when you become enlightened. That's not the meaning. That doesn't mean that you stop talking when you become enlightened. That doesn't mean that you don't feel anything, you don't perceive anything when you become enlightened, because avidya is removed. The meaning here is that the ignorance is removed from in and out breathing. In and out breathing is there. An enlightened person is breathing in and breathing out, but there is no avidya. That means there is no lack of truth, lack of knowledge of the truth, true nature of life. Instead, there is a full understanding of life. What is that full understanding? Four noble truths and nothing else. The full understanding of life, the true nature of life, means the understanding the four noble truths as they really are, as taught by the Buddha. The person has fully understood the noble truth of suffering, the first one, noble truth of the cause of suffering, second one, noble truth of the end of suffering, the third one, and noble truth of the path leading to the end of suffering. The person has fully understood these four truths. As a result, avidya has been abandoned and replaced with something else. What is the replacing thing? Vidya. Vidya means knowledge of the four noble truths. And with that knowledge of the four noble truths comes the cessation of the Sankhara. Sankhara Nirodha means the cessation of Sankhara. Again, what is the meaning of cessation of Sankhara? The person is breathing in and breathing out without lack of knowledge of the truth of life. The words are arranged inside the mind without delusion. That's why enlightened person never lies, never speaks divisively, never speaks harshly, never speaks idle chatter. Because the ignorance, avidya, is completely removed from the words. So why do we lie? Why do we speak divisively to break friendships? Why do we speak harshly? Why do we speak gossip? What is the reason? Because there is ignorance in our mind. There is lack of knowledge of truth in our life. As soon as that lack of knowledge is gone, the words are fully cleaned. The entire life is fully cleansed. Purified is the true purification of life. Perception and feeling, the ignorance is removed from perception and feeling. Whatever the enlightened person perceives, he perceives as they really are. And how does he feel? How does he perceive? He perceives impermanent things as impermanent. Anicca, anicca sannyi. He perceives ugly things as ugly. No one can cheat that person. He perceives painful things as painful. So no one can push him towards pain. No, you get that. You own that. You will have happiness. No, no one can push like that, because he understands painful things as painful, and he avoids owning them, avoids enjoying with them, because he understands painful things as painful, temporary things as painful, and he understands anatte anatta sannyi, things without a self as things without a self. He clearly understands, because the perception is cleansed. Ignorance is removed from perception. And whatever he feels, there is no ignorance. There's a true knowledge. So he feels pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral with the true understanding. Now, as a result of the cessation of formations, Sankhara, what happens to the consciousness? Now, do you remember the cause behind the consciousness we learned before in the arranging of the dependent origination? What is the cause behind the consciousness?
Formation.
Formations. Now the formations cease, right?
Yeah.
We call, when the ignorance is removed from formations, we call it the cessation of formation. That's how Buddha wanted us to learn, and that's how Buddha realized. So now formations are ceased. As a result, what comes? Cessation of consciousness. That means, that doesn't mean the conscious, the person, the enlightened being doesn't have a consciousness. That means the enlightened person has a consciousness without ignorance. No more magician there in his eye. No more magician there in his ears. No more magician there in his nose. No more magician there in his tongue. No more magician in his body. No more magician in his mind. Now, trick has been revealed. Always when the enlightened person opens eyes, he sees the truth. He can see things are changing, things are coming, things are going, things are born, things are dying. As the always he will see the truth. Because with the cessation of formations comes the cessation of consciousness. When he pays attention to the sounds, he understands very clearly the true nature of sounds. They are impermanent, they are coming and going, they are non-self, there is nothing to attach there. Even you, like you let's say that Arahant, there were Arahants at the age of 7, very young Arahants, in any age, and before they became Arahants, those men and women, let's say they had favorite songs, and now after they became enlightened, you play their favorite song in the lay life, they will have no interest, because the magician of the ear is fully understood, and they understand sound means it's nothing to cling, nothing to have craving. It's just an impermanent thing, and the clinging to these sounds is the cause of suffering. They understand very clearly. So, and Buddha teaches, even if you offer the most delicious food to an enlightened being, the enlightened being will use it, will have the meal, but there is no craving. He will eat it, or she will eat it as an enlightened person, just to sustain the body, just to live as long as the lifespan is there, in order to help other people, sharing the teachings and giving opportunities for them to make merit. And there is no any other reason, any other craving behind going after delicious food or anything like that. And he will not have any impressions, any signs, any features about the food he has eaten, because the craving is gone.
So Bhante, they will taste the flavor of the food, but they won't attach to it.
Correct.
They won't. Okay.
Yeah, because we call it the cessation of consciousness. And with the cessation of consciousness comes the cessation of what?
Name and form.
Mentality and materiality are ceased now. That means ignorance is removed, craving is removed from mentality and materiality. As a result of the cessation of mentality and materiality comes what? Salayatana nirodho. Nama Rupa Nirodha Salayatana Nirodho, comes the cessation of six sense bases. That means the enlightened person has eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind, all the six senses. What is absent there? Ignorance and cravings. Lack of knowledge of the truth and craving are absent in the six sense bases. That's called Salayatana Nirodho, cessation of six sense bases. As a result of the cessation of Salayatana Nirodha, comes what?
Cessation of contact.
Hassa Nirodho, comes the cessation of contact. That means even though the enlightened being opens eyes, pays attention to sights, pays attention to sounds, when the three things come together, internal sense faculty, external object, and the consciousness, when these three things they come together, there is no ignorance or no craving whatsoever. Like we see something beautiful with ignorance and craving, or without ignorance and craving?
With ignorance and
With
craving.
ignorance and craving, not knowing the reality of that object, we see something and craving arises. The enlightened person sees the same thing, same object. The three things come together: eye, visual object, and the consciousness. Nothing happens to the mind, no change. We are stressed, lots of emotions arising. It's like heart is burning, and so many different types of feelings. It's like something happening inside. So many things going in our life when we see something beautiful, when we hear something, when we smell something. But in the life of an enlightened being, there is no such ups and downs. Calm, peaceful, like a unruffled lake without waves. It's a calm, deep, quiet lake. You see that? That's a simile for the mind of an enlightened being. Our mind, what is the simile for our mind? Like boiling water. It's not calm, it's not peaceful, right? And another simile for our mind, it's like a monkey jumping from one thought to another thought, one feeling to another feeling, one emotion to another feeling. It's very restless. Do you feel that restless nature in our mind? It's very restless. But in enlightened monks and nuns' heart is very calm. Like one day, there are so many beautiful things, like stories. One day, Arahant Anuruddha Bhante, and he was traveling somewhere, and he was walking far away, and he wanted to stay in a, like he wanted to find a lodging or something to stay that night. And then he asked some villagers, where can I stay tonight? So tomorrow morning I can start again, I can start going my journey. And the villagers said, oh Bhante, there is a lodging there, like a place that people can stay. You can ask. And Anuruddha Bhante asked, and there was a lady, and she said, okay, yes, you can stay here, and there are other people also staying here. And as soon as that lady saw Anuruddha Bhante, because Anuruddha Bhante was from a royal family, and he was very handsome, and he was very young, and that lady wanted to marry Anuruddha Bhante, and she was very attached to Anuruddha Bhante. And then she planned something. And then she came to Anuruddha Bhante and told Bhante, there are lots of people in that the outside pavilion or whatever. So I prepared a quiet place for you because you are a monk. So you can spend the night peacefully. And then Anuruddha Bhante agreed, and Anuruddha Bhante went into a kind of a quieter room in that same building. And when time passed, that she came into that room and with inappropriate suggestions. And Anuruddha Bhante, what he did was he closed his eyes. And the lady was shocked. And she worshipped Anuruddha Bhante. She asked for forgiveness. And she told, you are a great man. You are a hero. Such a man is very rare in this world. And she wanted to follow the same path. How to keep the mind calm and peaceful in the midst of defilements. When so many defilements are arising, defilements are in the midst of defilements, in the midst of lust, in the midst of anger, in the midst of craving, in the midst of greediness, in the midst of ego. How can I live peacefully like you, Bhante? Anuruddha Bhante gave her forgiveness first and taught the Dhamma. And Anuruddha Bhante explained about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and she wanted to go for refuge to the Triple Gem. She wanted to become a follower of the Buddha. Minutes ago, she had lustful desires and inappropriate plans, all these things. But minutes after she became a follower of the Buddha and offered the dana to Anuruddha Bhante the next morning, Anuruddha Bhante blessed her, and now she is an upasika. Anuruddha Bhante went back to the monastery after a few days, traveling all the way, and he shared what happened on the way. And all the Bhantes, the other monks, went to the Supreme Buddha and reported this, and Supreme Buddha made a rule after that day. A monk should not stay in a house where there are no males, and in a secluded place, or in a place where there is only a woman. So that became a rule after that, to the code of monastic, to the discipline of monks. So now it's very different how the mind works of an enlightened person. Ordinary person sees a courtesan, a prostitute or whatever, a beautiful, gorgeous girl or whatever. It's different streams of emotions, feelings, sensations happening inside. But the enlightened person sees the same thing. But the peace of the mind never changes. The clarity of the mind, because the enlightened being sees the true nature of all conditioned things. The impermanent nature, painful nature of his body and others' bodies. The conditioned nature of everything. And the suffering of clinging to something conditioned. He has fully understood, and he doesn't have any, he doesn't want to cling to anything. So
Bhante?
as a result, yes?
Yeah. So I just want to clarify that the removal of ignorance which is the highest, which is
Mm.
our goal,
Mhm.
should never be mistaken by some people trying to avoid, let's say, lust by repressing the feelings.
No, it's not about repressing. It's about understanding the true nature with the help of practicing mindfulness, Noble Eightfold Path, developing calming and insight meditations. Like just following the Noble Eightfold Path, basically, because Noble Eightfold Path is the path leading to end suffering. It's nothing
Yes.
else.
Yes, because Bhante, lay people who are not, you know, who have who have not studied Dhamma and all of this. So let's say their parents or the teachers would usually come in and said, "Oh, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't you know, go out and mingle with the opposite sex. So you shouldn't. You're young." And so that there's a tendency that people will misinterpret it and just say that, okay, they just try to repress everything inside.
Yeah,
So that
that
they will not
any special knowledge will not come by suppressing. If there is any special knowledge, understanding of the true nature of life, it should come with the practice of Noble Eightfold Path.
Could be, right? Because I remember Freud, there's a, you know, psychologist before, so he mentioned about personality that is mostly, you know, repressing of all of these feelings, and there's a after effect of that, right, which is really harmful.
Yeah, so that's how ordinary world is the science of ordinary world, unfortunately. But this is the true science.
Okay, thank you,
There is
Bhante.
no suppressing, there is no temporary hiding, there is no temporary this or that. This is a permanent solution. And this is by practice the Noble Eightfold Path. And as a result of the cessation of contact comes the cessation of feeling. Cessation of feeling means, that doesn't mean an enlightened being doesn't feel anything. He feels pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. But in our case, when we feel pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, always something arises. What is that? Craving. Craving arises. Craving is there always. But as a result of cessation of Vedana Nirodha, comes the Tanha Nirodho. What happens to is there craving when enlightened beings feel things? No, there's no craving. Very clearly, in many suttas, Buddha explains when enlightened people feel things, this is what is happening inside their mind. They feel that a pleasant feeling has arisen in me now. This is conditioned. This is dependently arisen. This is impermanent. This will change. When they experience an unpleasant feeling, this is what is in their mind. Now an unpleasant feeling has arisen. They don't think, oh, I am experiencing a pleasant feeling. I am experiencing an unpleasant feeling. That's not the way they think. They think an unpleasant feeling has arisen. It has arisen dependent on impermanent causes and conditions. Who is feeling? No, that's not their question. It's the result of causes and condition. As long as causes are present, this feeling will last. With the cessation of causes, this feeling will change. That's their experience. When a neutral feeling has arisen, they will see. When they experience a neutral feeling, what is in their mind is a neutral feeling has arisen. This is condition. This is dependently arisen. And this will change. So they face the truth. They face the truth, and they are thinking about the truth. That's all. That's all. It's not an artificial thing. They have realized the truth. They are seeing the truth, and they are living with the truth. That's all about enlightened beings.
So Bhante, when they experience a feeling, they don't say, "This is my feeling." It's just a feeling.
Yeah.
Pleasant, neutral, or unpleasant.
Yeah. That's how they understand.
And that goes for craving, clinging. That goes for all of them.
Go for all. So after this, from here, with the cessation of craving, the everything is ceased. With the cessation of craving, what comes?
Cessation of clinging.
Cessation of clinging. All the 4 types of clinging are gone.
Yeah.
There is no clinging to
Myself.
There is no clinging to sense pleasures. There is no clinging to weaves. There is no clinging to wrong practices and wrong observances. There is no clinging to the notion of self. All the 4 types of clinging are gone. As a result of cessation of upadana, comes the cessation of
Arranging karma.
arranging of karma is ceased.
Yeah.
Even though they do things with the body, there is no arranging of karma. Even though they speak words, there is no arranging of karma. Even though they think thoughts, there is no arranging of karma. With the cessation of arranging of karma comes the cessation of
Birth.
cessation of rebirth. Bhava nirodha, jati nirodho. With the cessation of jati, with the cessation of rebirth comes the cessation of
Suffering.
cessation of jara. There is no more aging. It's only for this life, but there is no suffering connected to that. With the cessation of rebirth comes the cessation of aging, cessation of sickness, cessation of death, cessation of mental suffering, physical suffering, and cessation of idang uchati bhikkave dukkha nirodhang. This is the cessation of suffering. This is the end of suffering. Sadhu. At least we can hear about enlightened beings, right? In this world of clinging, attachment, fighting, restless, in this complex world, at least we can, when we hear about their lives, we just feel peaceful, right? We just feel calm just by listening to their living. So we also try to be enlightened ones one day, shouldn't we? That should be the goal. That's the permanent solution. To do that, we need to first learn very clearly what is happening, what should be done, where are we heading. That's what we should do first. Okay, that's the amazing knowledge of the enlightened, the Buddha, blessed one. Without the help of a teacher, the Buddha realized all of these, and Buddha broke all these links of dependent origination with the knowledge of the Four Noble Truths. And then all the other links fell apart, broken, dismantled, and attained the cessation of suffering, Nibbana. Another name for this cessation of dependent origination is Nibbana. When all these links are ceased, the result is Nibbana. That means Nibbana is achieved not after death. Nibbana is achieved while that person is alive. If all these links of the dependent origination were broken at the age of 7, when did he attain the Nibbana? At the age of 7. Some people think Nibbana is always to be achieved after death. No. At the age of 7, he attained enlightenment or Nibbana. That Nibbana means the breaking of this chain, this cycle. And that fortunate enlightened being and that little enlightened monk or nun at the age of 7 lives for another 80 years or 100 years with that Nibbana in the mind. There is no need to redo anything. So Geeta has a question.
Namo Buddhaya, Bante. Thank you very much for teaching us this very important sutta. I had a question on the second link. You talked about the three kinds of formations, the sankharas. The first link is in-breath and out-breath. Can you speak a little bit more on the in-breath, out-breath? Is this also vipassana meditation, like the metta meditation, or is it just strictly on in-breathing and out-breathing? Can you explain this?
It's just simply in and out breathing.
Okay.
Nothing to do with the vipassana or whatever.
Or no other kind of meditation.
Yeah, it's just the regular breathing of all beings. Not only human beings, even animals, they also breathe.
In and out. Okay.
It's just
Thank you.
regular breathing, okay?
Thank you.
Bante, I have a question.
Mhm.
Regarding consciousness, eye consciousness. Bante, you mentioned about consciousness is just like magician, right? So that's why it opted me to ask a question like
Not me. Buddha said
Buddha
consciousness
says.
is like a magician.
Okay, sorry. So Bante, you explained a while ago that eye consciousness. So somebody wakes up, okay, so what he sees, all right. Now my question is, sometimes the person sees something, but it's different from another person who sees it. So and sometimes it's a kind of illusion. And another thing could be, why is it that sometimes this person thought that there's something in there and he hallucinates? So I asked, illusion and hallucination is because of the magician thing. So maybe Bante can explain, or you know, see, sometimes I wonder, people see different things.
Let's go for
Different people
some
see
simple
different.
questions now. Otherwise, it will be too hard for some minds. Okay, so any other questions?
Nama Buddhaya Bante, I have a question.
Okay, Arina.
Bante explained about
Are you happy? Are you happy today? We finished the dependent origination. It's a long. We discussed in many classes dependent origination. So today I finished the origination and cessation of dependent origination, the Paticca So please read it again and again, memorize it, chant, like practice verbally, avijja paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnana, try to understand. Okay, Aina?
Yes, Bante. Bante explained about the Vachi Sankhara, arranging of words inside mind before talking. It's the same thing Bante as said that is the Vitaka and Vicharo. My question, Vitako and Vicharo that Bante explained, are they the same thing in the 5 jhana factors?
4 jhana. First jhana. We have Vitaka Vichara in the first jhana. Yeah, that's
yes. Are they the
so
same thing?
that's specific same thing, but that's specifically for the meditation object. So when the meditator thinks about that meditation object, first focus on the meditation object and keeps like repeating the meditation object in the mind, contemplating the repeating of the contemplation. That's the Vitaka Vichara there. But in the dependent origination, Vitaka Vichara means is always like in the regular Vitaka Vichara, before we speak words, the words are arranged. That's not only, even animals, when they make sounds, the Vitaka Vichara is arranged in their mind. But in the first jhana, Vitaka Vichara means specifically the focusing and the repeating the meditation object, either loving kindness or any other meditation object. Okay?
Understand, Bante. Thank you.
Yeah. So the Pali for that vitakka vichara, vitakketva vicharetva pacha vacham bhindati. After focusing on the sentence and repeatedly think about it, then speak about it. That's how Buddha explains about vitakka vichara in the dependent origination. I mean, and if you like to find those details and you like to read yourself, there are a few suttas about it. The five Sankhara, Vachi Sankhara, Chitta Sankhara are explained. Yeah, you can read. One of them is Mahavedalla Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya. The Mahavedalla Sutta. There you will see the explanation for five Sankhara, Vachi Sankhara, and Chitta Sankhara.
Namo Buddhaya Bante. Bante, can Bante be kind to explain the relationship between the Nama Rupa and consciousness, how they support each other?
I already explained it. I am tired now. Any other simple questions? That's what I was doing this whole time. Explain the Nama Rupa and consciousness. Half of this class. Connection between Nama Rupa and consciousness, right? You want me to do it again? Any other questions?
Bante, just before we end the session, if Bante don't mind, help direct how to get
Oh,
that
you know,
sutta.
recently. Oh, before I forget. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, the Titta, how can we find that Titta Yatana Sutta? Maybe Bante can show us.
Oh, you mean the Sutta Pitaka?
Yes, to get this sutta, the Titta Yatana Sutta and Vibhanga Sutta, Bante, please.
Yeah, you go to suttacentral.net. Yeah, this is a powerful sutta. All the suttas are amazing and powerful. This is one of them. So the name of this sutta is, if you just type this word sectarian tenets in the search box of the Sutta Central, you will find this. And if you don't need Pali, you can just have the English translation. It is in the Anguttara Nikaya, numbered discourses, Book of the Threes, sectarian penance. And the details, sometimes we discuss some things in detail using a different sutta. This is that sutta, and that is the Vibhanga Sutta from the Samyutta Nikaya. You can see here, Vibhanga Sutta, analysis, linked discussions with Samyutta Nikaya, Vibhanga Sutta, analysis of dependent origination.
Thank you, Bante.
You're welcome.
Namo Buddhaya Bante.
Namo Buddhaya.
I would like to ask a question. You mentioned that there are 3 types of consciousness, Bante. Does it have to be all 3?
Not 3 types of consciousness, 6 types of consciousness.
Oh, sorry, the conscious, like the
Formation.
Kaya, Sankhara, the formation.
3 types of Sankhara.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's okay.
So does it have to be like 3 present at the same time to be able to support the consciousness itself, or can be one? Let's say, for example,
Regarding yeah, I don't know an answer for that. I just like about the timing, like should be one enough for the consciousness to arise, or
Mhm.
two of them are enough to for the arising of. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that, but I can just say from the teachings of the Buddha, when those when the Sankhara are present, consciousness will arise. With the arising of formations comes the arising of consciousness. With the arising of formations comes the arising of consciousness. If I try to say like no, one is enough, two is enough, that means it's my discovery. I'm going to present my discovery. I'm just like an ignorant person, doesn't know anything about this. So just yeah, what we can say is only what Buddha has said.
Yeah, because if there's any formation of the words before we talk and everything, there are some animal that cannot talk, like virus, bacteria. People said it's like still living beings.
But still, yeah, but still there is the
it's
consciousness, arranging of consciousness, right?
Yes, yes.
So it's again with the arising of formations comes the arising of consciousness.
Okay, many minutes.
Bhante, following Wani's questions, Bhante, does
Mhm.
dependent origination apply to all beings, Bhante, including devas and brahmas and all?
What do you think?
I think yes, Bhante.
A being
Because
means simply just deep origination, nothing else. Beings means a dependent origination. All these causes and conditions arranging one after another, starting with ignorance. Living means that, nothing else. You see that?
yes,
Living means that. It's common to all beings, Brahmas, Devas, higher gods, all the creatures, even teeny tiny insects, same mechanism.
thank you, Bhante. Bhante.
Bante, I have a question.
Okay, Suryan.
So Bante, under the formation, the third kind, under mental formation, there is perception and feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And then under Nama and Rupa, there is also feeling and perception.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the link is also there's feeling. So what are the difference between those three, Bante?
Same.
It looks like they are overlapping.
Sorry?
It looks like it's overlapping.
Yeah, that's how Buddha wanted us to investigate it. It's the same feeling everywhere. Either feeling is described as 6 classes of feelings. That's the basic explanation, and there are other types of feelings, like as Buddha explains, worldly feelings, spiritual feelings, feelings connected to the lay life, feelings connected to the renunciation, and like that. But in the basic explanation, always there are 6 classes of feelings, and they have 3 branches as pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. So everywhere you can see the explanation under the dependent origination. You will see the same explanation.
Thank you, Bante.
Yeah, like it's like it Buddha talks about it again and again in different links, but Buddha knew that is the way to realize the dependent origination, and that is the way to end the arranging of each link. So it's just how it is explained. And I think I wanted to mention you one more thing before I forget. What is that? Maybe I already forgot that. It just came to my mind. Oh, you are very lucky. So it came to my mind. So very clearly memorize this. Sankhara, Kaya Sankhara, Vachi Sankhara, Chitta Sankhara, not Mano Sankhara. Because there are another 3 types of Sankhara. They are called Kaya Sankhara, Vachi Sankhara, Mano Sankhara. In that explanation, Buddha describes their Kaya Sankhara means bodily actions, Vachi Sankhara means verbal actions, Mano Sankhara means mental actions. It's a totally different explanation in a different context. In the dependent origination, Kaya Sankhara means in and out breathing, not bodily actions, in and out breathing, not bodily karma, in and out breathing. In the dependent origination, Vachi Sankhara means not karma, Vachi karma. It's Vachi Sankhara means vitakka vichara, applied and sustained thought, and nothing else. In the dependent origination, it's not Mano Sankhara. If it is Mano Sankhara, it's the mental karma. But in the dependent origination, it's not the Mano Sankhara, it's the Chitta Sankhara, Chitta Sankhara. Clearly understand and memorize it like that, exactly like that. Chitta Sankhara means perception and feeling, Sanya Vedana. If we memorize exactly as Buddha taught, then we will be able to understand the dependent origination and put an end to this cause and effect mechanism. And the result. Okay, what will happen if this cause and effect mechanism is cut off? Suffering will end. Don't think, oh, what will happen to me after that? So the links are not connected now. They are broken. They are not supported. So what will happen to me? What will happen to my life next? So where will I go? Don't have those questions. What will happen if the links are broken? The suffering will end. That's all. Dukkhameva uppajjamana uppajjati. Whatever arises is arising of suffering. Dukkhameva nirujjamana nirujjati. Whatever ceases is the cessation of suffering. That's all what happens. Anna has a question.
Oh, well, it's not a question. I just want to say thank you for the class. This is the first time that I connect with you. I really love it. And thank you.
We bless you. Follow the Buddha's path, and that's an amazing path. It's all about the truth of life. We don't waste time learning about it. We are not learning unnecessary things. It's about our life, and it's always about the path to true happiness, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, learn it with a very grateful heart towards the Buddha's enlightenment. And a few days ago, I was very happy with something because somebody, for the first time, he called the monastery, and he told me that he had been learning Buddha's teachings about Four Noble Truths, Noble Eightfold Path, Dependent Origination, and he's very impressed by it. And he need a complete change in his life, and so he wanted to become a true follower of the Buddha. He's a, I think he was not a Sri Lankan, so he didn't know single language or whatever. So, and then he was a newcomer to Buddhism, and he heard that how to become a wholeheartedly, how to become a follower of the Buddha. He heard that there is a triple gem ceremony, something called triple gem ceremony, that where you go for refuge to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha and become a true follower of the Buddha from that moment on. And then he wanted to have a triple gem ceremony, and he wanted to come to the monastery. And I told him, I remembered Chatta Manavaka, the boy Chatta. He just have few minutes to live, Buddha knew his karma, and he was going to be killed by a gang of robbers. So Buddha suddenly appeared in front of him using his psychic powers, and Buddha asked him to go for retrieve the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, this for your protection, keep the 5 precepts. And then Buddha left. And few minutes after, the robbers came and killed the boy Chatta. As the result of going for refuge to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha for few minutes, he took rebirth in heaven, escaped from hell, animal world, ghost world, and all the worlds just by going for refuge to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha and keeping 5 precepts for a few minutes. So that came to my mind, and I asked him, okay, do you have a Buddhist statue at your place? Like, I was talking to him over the phone, and he said, I know, I don't have anything. I am in the office now. Bante, can I go home and call you back? Then this story came to my mind, because we don't know the lifespan of this person, right? Like, we don't know whether he is going to live like few more minutes, or we don't know. We don't know whether he can make to go home, right? We don't know. So then I told, okay, it doesn't matter. You don't need a Buddha statue. And sometimes Buddha would go to like a forest or whatever, wherever, or any village. In a road, he meets somebody and they become a follower of the Buddha. So you can do the same. And I asked him to repeat Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato and Buddhan Saranam Gacchami, Dhamma Saranam Gacchami, Sangha Saranam Gacchami. And he repeated the same. And I also asked him to say it in English. And he went for refuge to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha over the phone. So as soon as he finished that, and I gave him the 5 precepts. And as soon as he finished that, and he said, Bante, I feel like I have been born again, and like it's a completely new life. Like I felt his joy after becoming a follower of the most compassionate, the Blessed One. Like he felt like he was born as a son of the Buddha, and he's following his the compassionate one's path. So he felt that happiness, and he told me that his whole life has changed. And so it's like that, right? People still choose this path, and they change their lives completely, and path takes them towards true happiness, true peace, and that's an amazing thing, right? It's after 2,500 years, right? Still, this Dhamma is timeless. Son of Shirani, I guess, has a question.
No, Buddhaya Bante.
I forgot your name.
It's Lochana Bante.
Lochana, okay, please.
So I had a question about consciousness
Mhm.
and the forming of thoughts in your head and its relation to ignorance. So let's say in a scenario, someone was using hateful speech towards me, and they say mean things that make me angry. And then in my mind, I form.
Okay, so others, basically, before we continue, others cannot, since we are learning deep Dhamma and dependent origination, let me add this, others cannot make us angry.
No?
No, others cannot make us angry. For example, like people criticize and yell at arahants, like enlightened beings, but they don't get angry. So it's not others make us angry, it's we get angry.
Based on what someone else says.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you don't have that root, no matter what others say to you, you still feel like it's your brother, it's your sister, it's your own. Like Buddha teaches in the Karanimita Sutta, once you understand this Dhamma, you feel like about all the beings you have this feeling. Like the mother has that compassion for her only son or daughter. That kind of feeling you will have about all the beings, no matter whether they try to kill you, whether they try to insult you, or destroy you, you still have that feeling. So enlightened beings have that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so, okay, go ahead. But
So
that's an extra
okay,
thing.
so
Right? You can
so
ask. Some
someone who's a novice to kind of this good karma and learning these things, and they say something bad, and I generate my own anger because of what I feel inside, and right away I think, oh, this is not correct, this is wrong, I understand that this is wrong. Do I still generate that bad karma along with the good karma?
Don't think about it.
Don't think about it.
like if you already made karma, like what can you do? You cannot undo it, like by regretting it, all right? It's
Right.
already done. But what you have to focus on is that you generated a new thought to control it, and you recognized it. Okay, that is not correct, that's bad. So I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to remove my anger, right?
Right.
That's where you need to focus.
Okay.
And that, like, anger is also a chetana. That means a volition, a thought.
Right.
And the effort you made mentally to stop that is also a chetana, okay? Both karma, okay? Chetana means karma. The chetana for anger is karma. The chetana to stop anger is also karma. But always, the good news is that the chetana to stop the anger is very powerful good karma, and you don't need to even, you don't want to even think about this bad karma that arranged before, because Buddha says it's so powerful good karma. Just that having that volition to stop anger. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Know that one day.
Yeah. Sadhu.
Namo Buddhaya, Swaminathan.
I was about to share merits and conclude.
Oh no, it's a quick question.
Okay, you can go ahead.
If this sermon is discourse is recorded, Bhante, can it be available to listen again?
Yeah, I think volunteers are working very hard, and we have talks of interactive question and answers from Bhante from Sri Lanka. Sangha Bhante is doing, and his talks are there, and also I think Life of the Buddha program is going on these days, and there are recordings of that, Deep Dhamma class recordings, and I think Dhamma discussion in the children Dhamma program, and also some Dhamma talks from the English Shield programs. All recorded Dhamma talks you can find on the YouTube Mahameuna Toronto YouTube channel. Okay. So you just go to YouTube and type Mahameuna Toronto. That's the name of this monastery. Okay, so I think today we generated powerful good karma by practicing meditation, observing precepts, chanting the qualities of the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, learning the amazing teachings of the Buddha, discussing the teachings, and helping each other in many ways. So let us share merit with, first of all, our teacher, Lok Swami Mahanse. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We share merit with all devas. Sadhu, sadhu. We share merit with our parents, teachers, family members, brothers, sisters, with all Kalyana Mittas and with all beings. May all of them enjoy long life, good health. May they be protected, and may they always have the association of Kalyana Mittas, good friends. Make new merits to their life, practice the Noble Eightfold Path, and achieve the end of cause and effect mechanism and the true happiness, Nibbana. Sadhu. Abhivadana Silis Nichang Vadha Pachayino Chattaro Dhamma Vadanti Ayvano Sukhambalang Ayurarogya Sampatti Sagga Sampatti Mimeche Ato Nibbana Sampatti Minate Saminjatu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sukhi hotu, sukhi hotu.